on the agenda.
Well, first of all, I still wish that when you guys vote on this, it's still a lump sum and an amalgam. I know you discussed these individually on Tuesday, I guess, but when you vote on them, you vote on them as one thing. You don't discuss them individually. You don't vote on them individually. Is that correct, Mr. Barre? These
Generally,
resolutions?
yes. Generally, yeah, but, yes.
You
But
don't.
they are discussed individually at the work
But you
session.
don't vote on them individually.
We can.
You
if
can?
we need to, yes.
Well, I would urge you to, with this list being the way it is, I would urge council to vote on these individually instead of collectively.
Well, that's council's prerogative to be decided. Go ahead.
The first one, I'm just wondering why a video system is all of a sudden necessary after all these years in county and council chambers, and who is going to pay for it? I guess the city's going to be stuck with the bill there. I don't know how much that's going to be, but I think it's a total waste of money. Why is this all of a sudden deemed necessary? I'm also commenting on the easement that you're probably going to grant to the Holtzman here. I agree with the previous speaker. I think the city is going to be, not only end up being, liability is going to be incurred, but there are going to be other expenses as well. I would think that the city and perhaps even the county might be stuck with some bills there for sewer problems or sanitary or storm sewer runoff, that sort of thing. When you build new roads, aren't those issues come into play? This is not, there's no such thing as a free lunch, right? I guess you don't pay for the free extension of Cole Street either, I don't think, for the taxpayers. Just once in a while, one more comment on this, the street sweeper, $184,000. I assume this Vortec Industries was a low bidder here? Is it not true that the city has a street sweeper now? I know it's not used very much, but I haven't seen one in about 10 years up in my neighborhood. But isn't it true the city does have a street sweeper now? And is it defunct or what? I mean, what's the trouble here? Why is it necessary to go out and spend $184,000 for a street sweeper? Walter Griffith, who used to be a pretty conscientious guy and speak up at these meetings, mentioned to me, I remember specifically, one time the city did purchase, not too long ago, a street sweeper for about $50,000. And I know it's not used too much, for what reason I don't know. There's some neighborhoods who have never seen a street sweeper. So I urge, that's why I'm urging individual discussion, individual voting on these resolutions. There's a lot to come out here. To just put these things together as a lump sum, I think a slap in the face to the taxpayers. Just one more question. The ordinances are also going to be voted on, right? I haven't been here for a little while. We're still, the speaker registration, speaker input is still under the same, I see they moved the table steps here, but you can still register late today, right? Okay, I'd like to register to speak separately, but so the comment on this ordinance would come later then, or can it come now? Because you're going to vote on this now, right? This ordinance to limit speaker input?
When you're done there, we're going to address your
What's
concerns.
that?
When you're done speaking, we'll address your concerns right now. Which is why
Because once I put this in, it'll have been voted on.
Right, we're going to answer your question.
This is a second reading, correct?
Yeah, this is all pending. It means we haven't voted on it yet. We will be voting on it shortly.
Okay, but you're going to vote on it with the ordinances, right?
Yes, sir. We're voting on everything that happens.
This is pending legislation, Mr. Troy. You can speak on that right now.
I could.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I just want to, I'm going to speak on it later too, but I just want to mention, I think this is a terrible encroachment on the freedom that we so value in this society, freedom of speech. It was, you know your history, right, Mrs. LaBelle? You all know your history here? There was bloodshed from 1776 on up over not just this right. I mean, there are a lot of other issues in these wars, I understand. But it's always been liberty against tyranny, liberty against autocracy. One of the ideals that we cherish is in our democracy is the right to speak up, the right to criticize the government. It seems to me by passing this ordinance, you are encroaching, if not stifling, that right. And I beg you, as a citizen in a free society, a relatively free society, to reconsider this ordinance. It may not seem like much. You're only pushing the table back. You're having people register before the meeting starts, this sort of thing. But it seems to me that this is a terrible encroachment and a terrible discouraging of public opinion when the opposite should be sought. I mean, certainly some people get up here and may not have a lot to say, but I think it's true that when you discourage public opinion, you are stifling democracy, you're stifling democratic ideals and principles upon which this country is founded and upon which wars have been fought and blood has been shed. Thank you.
Rob, do you want to address the issue on the cameras? I know that, where do you want me to handle that?
Yeah, Mr. Troy, I'll be glad to address one of your questions regarding videotaping of the city council meetings. I put that suggestion in, that resolution in, because I feel it's necessary. I think that we should have a recording of everything that takes place during these meetings. Some of the recordings are not completed. I'd like to have a recording of not only what the people here have to say to us, but our responses back to your questions, to some of the things that you're asking us to look into. So that's the reason why I asked for this resolution, is to have a record of that. It'll be a record that's available, that we can utilize if necessary, that's going to be available as a public library type situation. It will be a record of what takes place during council. And it will be a way of capturing everything, people that address us, and then also how we address you with our answers and so forth. So this is something I think has been overdue for quite a while, and it's just something that I think it's better for us, it's better for you, it's better for everyone as a city to have that as a recording. That's my opinion. That's the reason why I suggested it.
On the street sweeper, this was discussed at some length on Tuesday. We have, I believe, one that still operates. It's a 10 years old, 12 years old, or so. It's old. So old that we can hardly get parts for it. We are in need of a new one. And this is under CoStar, if I'm not mistaken, this purchase agreement. And it's something that we desperately need. Council had discussed this on Tuesday. And I don't know